I'm really excited too.
And welcome back to a special episode of Writing Through the Unknown. I'm your host, Michael, and joining us today is a guest who many of you are familiar with, as she is becoming quite popular on the show, and I am grateful, as always, to not only call her a friend, but also have her, use my show as a platform and share out all this great information. So I'm going to stop getting in my head and I'm going to turn it over to the one, the only amazing gemstone extraordinaire, Gina Virginia Casella.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much, Michael, for having me on your show. And today I get to share with you my books that I published. So I've been really enjoying hosting Story Species, Story Medicine. Time and date's going to change for 2026. So make sure you're following me on Buy Me a Coffee so you can get the latest. I have so much to talk about that I strategically planned it. So I've got, I want to remind viewers about the Gnome King's gemstones and how I found them. I would like to take a moment to show you each of my books. There's 8 of them, and I'd like to read the back of each one so you know which book has what content in it. I also would like to show you some slides because I would like to host conference. And you know what, maybe I'll start there actually, is with my slides. So this is all new in the making. So this is actually something that I've been wanting to do for a long time. I was a public school teacher for 20 years, and I've always been very passionate about story medicine because I remember in university we read a book by Joseph Gold called Story Species, and it really resonated with me. And all these years later, it's still resonating with me. So we're a story species. Stories are our medicine. It's directly linked to the mind and how you think and process information. Your logical mind needs, it demands a beginning, a middle, and an end. Stories have a beginning, a middle, and an end. Michael and I were having a little laugh before we went live about the hero's journey. Like, when is it going to end, right? It's never ending. And it's like, you might ask yourself, like, why does the hero's journey have to be such a fucking bitch? And it's like, you know what? Look in the mirror. That's why. Why does the hero's journey never ending? Look in the mirror and reevaluate yourself, reevaluate your shadows, accept and acknowledge you have blind spots, accept and acknowledge that you were born with information and knowledge that doesn't even resonate with you. You were born into somebody else's world where they spoke a language, and you, being in survival mode, didn't have a choice, the infant that you were, to speak whatever language your parents speak. You didn't have a choice but to believe what they believed. And before you knew it, before you were even like a day old, You were already saturated with other people's programming. Your life between the lives, what happened? I thought we made contracts and had conversations. But you know what? When you incarnate here, and nobody knows exactly how any of this is done, but when you come to this planet, in the womb, traditionally, we already in the womb in that state absorb and pick up information, whether we actually understand the language, we understand the literal language of snake. Those of you who are into the medicine wheel and power animals, that's what I'm talking about. The literal language of cells and atoms and chemicals in your body have reactions. And how you think and feel is so important that it creates reactions in your body. So every thought that you have, see, I'm just getting passionate now, but every thought that you have, already the order that I wanted to go in is already off. Okay. But like how you think and feel is so important that it actually inspires ailments. So if you ever want to know why you're sick, it's because how you think and feel, because every single thought is followed by an emotional response. And that emotional response creates a chemical reaction in your body. This is the language, the literal language of cells and chemistry, right? The language of snake, the 3D reality, right? So I like to work at the mythical level, like the level of hummingbird, right? I like transformation, Jay. I love flying wingtip to wingtip with eagle condor, but this reality, this literal reality that we live in, the literal level of snake, stories are our medicine to help us heal and transform so we can make our way around the medicine wheel. So I want to call the conference, it's a big title, it's called Story Species, Story Medicine, the Continuum of Conscious Evolution series. So are you ready to take your medicine? I'm going to require speakers, I need vendors, people to help me organize this. I've got it all broken down into stages. Let me just show you some highlights here. This is going to be based on dreams, half remembered, half misunderstood. And this is how we unite. And for those of you who are just joining in, this is me just being excited, sharing information. I haven't had time yet to create a formal presentation, and I will. So make sure you follow me on Buy Me a Coffee, BMAC for short. I didn't know that was BMAC just a handful of months ago. But anyways, true dreams, half remembered and half misunderstood, that's where we unite. And this star is intentionally upside down because I wanted to work with masculine, feminine themes, right? So this is like a bunch of women sitting in a circle with their legs open and they have each other's back. And it's also the shadow part here. I keep pointing with my mouse. You can't see my mouse, but like I want there to be an emphasis on the feminine. So triangles, facing downward, that kind of stuff. Working with imagery and symbols is important to me. So anybody who does graphic design, that, you know, you're looking at this image of the star, that's where I'm going with it. So story species, story medicine is important to me because, like I said, throughout my teaching career, telling stories is always a place where we can come to. Even if it's a made-up story, there's a moral to the story, there's a takeaway, there's something that we can tuck in our pocket and relate. So my books are based on my dreams and my real life. And I explore my own subconscious programming and the interconnected Ginas, alters, past lives. I'm still figuring it out. So I'm asking, like, are you familiar with a Lucer's milkshake, for example? Because I have all kinds of interesting dreams, and the very vocabulary Lucer, I didn't know that until last year. And so I thought, oh, maybe that's what I'm talking about. And just even the way that I understand information about vampires and folks who are feeding off of energy and taking that to the next level, paralleling and contrasting that to us, vegan cuisine, Homo sapiens sapiens being on the meat market. Like, for me, these interconnected issues become very concerning. And I also take things like targeting very seriously, because I do believe that what can heal you can kill you. So I'm very passionate about hypnotherapy and energy medicine, and knowing that what can heal you can kill you. It makes sense to me that we could direct energy and use our very own mind powers and emotional intelligence against us. We could weaponize things like our emotions. And so this is why we need to have these conversations. I'm personally not hung up on the truth. I'm not hung up on scientific fact. Why? Because at the end of the day, nobody knows anything. It doesn't matter what your theories are. It doesn't matter what information was peer reviewed, because time and time again, if we've learned anything, is we keep trumping that information. And if we've also learned anything, it's that violence is very immature. Seemingly it solves problems, because if you don't like something and you don't want to hear about it anymore, you beat it up, you shut it up, the problem is gone, right? But we know that problems haunt us. They never go away. So this business of the ET agenda, super soldier programs, people who are shape-shifting or making claims that they've been kidnapped by ETs, or that an ET came into them in the middle of the night to visit them, or an angel. I don't care if the stories are true or not. I care that we're creating a safe space, because there's a lot of folks out there who would like to share their stories, and they don't know how, they don't know who to turn to, they don't have a community. That's where it's got to start. So I'm all about foundation, and I feel like my career has actually led me to this point, because I'm very passionate about early learning, child development, because that's the foundation that we build, the kindergarten years. So I feel like this is where I come into play now, and I'm hopeful that this is going to be huge. This is going to be very iconic. It's predicted in my book series that me just publishing my book series is bridging the dream life with you folks, the waking life, and taking not the details that frustrate us, but taking the bigger themes. Because stories, and knowing that we're a story species, stories are never about the plot. They're always about the bigger themes, and it's the plot that drives us there. And there's a little fly flying around me, and my dominant spirit guide is fly. So it's like, yeah, like there's a, and I didn't mean to get passionate. I feel my passion here, because this is important to me, and the intention is that we build soul tribe, we build community, we normalize people telling stories about ETs, we normalize people telling stories about angels who visited them. When you're walking down the street and somebody tells you a story about a vampire, oh yeah, whatever, that's very normal sounding. That's my goal. As a public school teacher, we would talk a lot about LGBTQ2 plus spirited. And time again, those acronyms change because we keep trying to honor them, right? So I want to parallel this to alchemy, because when it comes to angels, ETs, that also needs to be alchemized. And you know what? Like, as a public school teacher, we never got to the ET agenda or spiritual experiences, because in the public education lens, respectfully, there is no spirit lens. So that's where the social emotional lens is really key to talking about things like foundation and building the self-regulation skills, moving away from violence, being open, seeing the bigger picture things. So it's my intention that not spiritualism, but energy medicine and things like Bigfoot stories that are not classified under the spiritual lens get into the public education lens and classroom, and that basically this becomes normal everyday conversation. And then it would be really cool. My big dream that I have in my mind is that people come to my conference, right? Network, meet other dragon dreamers alike, and then those people network and go on, you know, adventures seeking truth and taking stories from the foundational stories that people are sharing at this conference. So I got a few more slides here, not much. But most of what I said, I think I wanted to cover. I'm not done yet. I know, Michael, I feel like you want to ask something, but I am almost done. Um,
No, I'm enjoying this and
okay,
fascinated
good,
by
good,
this.
because I still, that's the thing with me. I mean, there's always the day plan, and then it's like, now I'm just talking, right? And that's typical of me. Like I prepare speeches, but then I just like tend to hold my speech shit off to the side. So those of you who don't know me, get to like me, get to trust me, and let's do this, okay? You can learn all about me, Gina Virginia Casella .com on my website. Check out my Facebook, my personal profile. There's like seriously nothing that goes on there. I do have a professional profile. I just post advertisements there, but it's the Facebook free group, the Dragon Dream Soul Tribe Collective, and Buy Me a Coffee, Gina Virginia Casella, where you can really find me. So what kind of speakers am I looking for at my conference? And again, I need to create a formal presentation, which I'm going to release in a weekish or so. But the number one underlining theme of the conference, the Story Species, Story Medicine Continuum Conscious Evolution series, because there's going to be more than one conference, it's going to be like ongoing, is that you're important and that how you think and feel matters. That is the number one motto at the conference, because there's so many who don't feel that way. They need to know that their stories need to be heard. I need to hear your stories. So I need to personally hear them. The rules of the mind and mind reprogramming. This shit is real and it's frustrating. When you learn the rules of the mind, it's so upsetting. But then once you get to know them, you can work with them, right? We need people talking about that. Akashic records, shadow work, talking to spirit guides, smoky mirrors, people who do protection spells. I want to hear it all. This is age 14 Gina and age 7 Gina. This is their doing. Like in my series, there's age 4 Gina, age 7 Gina, age 14 Gina. They're actually behind all of this. Things like Darwinism to Lamarckism. Just really having open conversations. I'm not going to read all of this, but I did make a note of like yoga, qigong, dance, movement, general range of motion, things that people do that they feel activate them. So maybe you took an actual modality that you got trained on and there's a science behind it, but you know what? Maybe you just do what you do because it makes you feel good and it works for you and you'd like to share it with the rest of the world. Come to my conference and share it with us, okay? Would really like to hear it. And absolutely your firsthand accounts, with dreams, nightmares. I don't want anybody to come to this conference and be like, that's not what a nightmare is. That's not what lucid dreaming is. Oh, are you the dictionary police? Put your dictionaries away, because when we have these conversations, we're the dictionary. We define the definitions, and those definitions alchemize. They need to alchemize because we're all the phoenix rising. So we shed our snake skins, we leave the past behind, we take the high quality items with us forward. And so I made some notes here. I'm doing everything in backwards order. So let me just check my notes here. What else did I want to say? You're important. That was on my notes. You're enough. You're the same as everyone else. And things are available to you. So this conference is not going to be like $400 or $500 for a ticket. I don't know what it's going to cost, but there's going to be online opportunities. So it's going to be very affordable, and there's going to be in person. Now, in person's got to pay for the overhead and rental and that kind of stuff, but it's still going to be affordable. All right. I'm one of those people that I've always thought to myself, like when I go to a concert or something like that, I look around and you know what, I get it. People have to pay the money to, have the access to come inside, right? It's a respect thing. It's an energy exchange. But how cool would it be to actually fill the whole entire theater by reducing prices that little bit more? You know, you don't want to reduce it or too much or give it away for free, because then you attract the wrong crowd. So I want to find balance with this. I want everybody to be able to come with this. And I know there's a whole new wave, a whole new generation who's finally going to be going in this direction. This is the new education. For me, this conference, Story Species, Story Medicine, the Continuum of Conscious Evolution series, is re-education, because the ET agenda, reliable, sustainable resources, all of that is part of the bigger picture conversations that we need to pay attention to. And for what it's worth, the lines on the map, we put those lines there. When the ETs come zooming in here, collecting us for their meat resource, they don't give a fuck Canada, the United States. They're just picking folks up. So all of our politics are actually inconsequential. So I have a very strong interest. I don't want anything to do with politics. I learned that very quickly when I was in my union. I don't do well with politics. That's why I do well with the professional development. And where I was at with my union at the time, with the British Columbia Teachers' Federation, is I was advocating that professional development needed to embody a personal development lens, because we would reject teachers' applications all the time because it fell under the personal development, not professional development. And I get that, right? There are a lot of things that benefit our personal development, like self-regulation, going to yoga classes, that do benefit us in the professional development lens. And so for me, I feel really pumped up and excited, because this is the new curriculum. It's not going to happen overnight, but the foundation that we need to build is going to be with me, and you're invited to be a part of it too. So what else do I want to tell you? So for me, I think I already said this, but it's not about full disclosure anymore. Full disclosure is over. Things have been disclosed. It's a matter of paying attention. So I'm asking you to pay attention. I'm asking you, if you feel fear, if you feel uncomfortable about these things, to join the club. My content makes me uncomfortable. I don't like a lot of the things that I say, but I need to walk forward in my continuum of conscious evolution. Otherwise, I risk being stagnant. And then I risk not shedding that snake skin. I risk being irritable. I risk everything being constricted. I risk dying, basically, and being left behind. And you know what? Speaking of being left behind, it's always hardest for those who are last. And that's us, unto the last. You know, what's his name? John Ruskin? I wasn't planning on talking about him, but he wrote a book called Unto the Last. And I feel emotional in this moment, because in my own personal journal, I'm making connections now that are just kind of flooding in. So Greg Braden, for example, talks about AI and, AI hybrids with Homo sapiens. Go read Greg Braden if you want to learn more. But like, that makes me uncomfortable, because essentially what he's saying is that, if I'm understanding him correctly, we're the last of our kind. We're the last of the authentic biologicals that have free will. We're the last that have this biology. We need to cling to our biology. There's content in my book series about, or what it means to be organic, and what it means to have a relationship with bacteria, what it means to belong to the greater circle of life. So it challenges things like us, Homo sapiens sapiens. Are we an invasive species? If so, maybe we should leave, right? There's just too much to say. So things have a way of happening fast. So if you're genuinely interested in helping out, I really urge you to follow me on Buy Me a Coffee. Follow me on BMAC so you get in on the emails and you don't miss anything. I already set a date. I forget it. I think I remember what it is, but it's in my notes. So just wait till I get to that slide. And again, I want to emphasize that I am interested in creating safer spaces because I know there's no such thing as a 100% safe space, but we can strive to create safer spaces, right? As a public school teacher, I always feel hypersensitive about students who come out of the closet because what that might mean for them behind the scenes. Things like intersex, a lot of folks don't know what that means. It means you're born with a penis and a vagina. Intersex is primordial, but when we hear about it, it freaks us out. It turns to violence. People end up getting killed. So when I think about the ET agenda, when I think about full disclosure, ETs are already fully integrated, working as secretaries, doctors, collecting garbage. They're integrating themselves here. This business of Earth School is not just for us, it's for them too. And hey, on that note, hey, ETs and angels, whoever you are, stop freaking coming to us in the middle of the night. Learn about our rules, knocking on the front door, right? Send an email or a text first, that kind of stuff. But the point is, think about how we treat each other. So you think ETs are going to be all like, yeah, hey, I'm here to fully disclose my species. Like, remember that movie, The Little Mermaid, and how upset King Triton would get about his daughter Ariel? Well, is he just being a mean dad? No, his daughter continuously is on the brink of exposing the whole entire species. But who talks about that theme in The Little Mermaid? Right? So it's these conversations that really go a long way. So I'm getting passionate again. I recognize my passion. But you know what? Creating safe, inclusive, dignified environments are important. And there's too many people fighting fire with fire. All that does is spread more fire. If the world needs anything right now, it's hopes and dreams. And if there's one thing that we do and do well, it's hope and dream. Hope can be a dangerous thing. It can dangle, right? It's that carrot dangling in front of the donkey. So that's why we need to share stories. The world around us, in and around us, is a story. So I'm a character, you're a character, no different than in a story. All the symbols, colors around us, we're walking, talking oracles. Robert Moss wrote a book called Sidewalk Oracles. And I actually thought it was an oracle deck. That's why I ordered it. And I got it, and it was a book. And I'm like, but it's an oracle. It's called Sidewalk Oracles because the book is about tips and tricks about how to bridge your dream life with your waking life. And the undertone that the readers need to infer is that you're the oracle. So when you're walking down the street, walking down the sidewalk oracles, that's the world in and around you. So the conference has stages. This is stage 1, and stage 1 is just, hey, FYI. I know there's no I in the FYI, but stage 1 is, hey, FYI, follow me. I'm Gina. Follow me on BMAC for updates. Stage 2, Gina send out video. So I'm going to be creating that video in the next week or so. So look out for that. And stage 2 is reminding you right now that the first meeting, if you're interested in being on the Dragon Dreams Executive Committee, that our first meeting is going to be Friday, January 30th, 2026, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So if you're like me, you like to plan ahead. And if you're very serious, then you're looking at your calendar and making space. You don't have it all figured out, but I feel like we should be meeting every Friday at the same time just to hash out the beginning stages and then dial it back a bit, meeting bi-weekly. It's going to be really exciting because I have an expectation that people who join the committee have experience creating social media, digital creators and whatnot to help me bring this um, into manifestation. The Dragon Dreams Executive Committee, they're going to have two jobs because it's one job. It's the conference and my books go together. So the Dragon Dreams Executive Committee needs to help me transform my book series into a movie series while helping me plan and execute, carry out the conference. Part of the book series is me hosting the conference. Part of me is like, like in the book, they'll probably be like, and Gina was on Michael's show and kicking it all off and blah, 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 blah. Like that's part of it, you know? So if you come to the conference, you're going to be in my book series. You're going to be in the movie series because it all blends together. And like, I have a suitcase full of dream journals that I still have to publish. I'm still getting downloads. Plus, we still have all this community and connecting that we need to do. So, the Dragon Dreams book series is going to be the new classic, if you will, that everybody has a copy of. It's just something like that every family has at home. People go back to these because initially when I wrote these books, it was all about me. It was about my spiritual awakening and all the crap that was going on in my life. But very quickly I realized with my own reflections and projections and dream alchemy, it's about all of us. And so stage 3, if you're interested in being a vendor or being a speaker, wait until the committee and I get together. There's going to be a stage 3, then there's going to be a stage 4 where we actually like have the event, and then stage 5 is going to be important to reflect on the experience. So I have no idea where the first one's going to be. The first one very well could be online because I want it accessible to everyone, right? So those of you who are listening, this is passion driven. When I volunteered for my union, they told us straight up, like, this is for people who believe in service to others. And that really resonated with me. So I do believe in service to others. And I do believe that what comes around goes around, and that this will continuously provide and uphold each other while creating safer spaces for inclusive, dignified environments where people can really share their story medicine. And it would be really cool if there were scientists there who had scientific facts. And it would be really cool if there was people there that could speak to ancient civilizations and whatnot. But you know what's even cooler? When you have the opportunity to share your story without any judgment. And just for people to say to you, you know what? I believe that you believe. Like, if you believe that happened to you, great. You can't prove it. And that's me. That's my story. I can't prove anything. I'm no different than the next person telling a Bigfoot story. So I thank everybody in my book series. Each book, there's a special little thank you, because if it wasn't for people sharing their story medicine, I might have never shared mine. So I used to host a show called PMHI Passions, Present Moment Hypnotherapy International Passions. That's now transformed into Story Species, Story Medicine. And I'm trying to show you another slide. It's not letting me. Here we go. So these are my books in my hand. This is an example of my gemstone reading, which I'll just show you a little bit more of that. There's my business card. And I'm really, really excited. So
if you want, I can bring up the image you couldn't bring up.
You know what? I was able to bring it up. That's okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. So Well, we only have like 20 minutes left. So I've been like talking nonstop, but it's been really beneficial. And for what it's worth, a formal presentation is going to be made. Michael and I just excited to share out. Today, the intention was for me to talk about my books. And so it's really, really fitting. So I got my gemstones on this thing here. Most of these I found at the beach. So very quickly, um, I'm having interesting dreams, as I tend to do. And one of my dreams in particular, there was like a grandfather type figure, and he'd always kind of be like, scratching his head and tossing around sticks and stones and wondering what to make out of this. And in my dream life, the characters in my dreams, they just leave me alone because they know that I'm freaked out. But at that time, I was like going to interact. So he wasn't sure, is she going to come to me and interact, or is she going to stay over there freaked out? So finally, I started interacting with him. And one thing led to another. We're talking about language and binary codes, literally sticks and stones, ones and twos, penis, vagina. Like this gets very basic. And that also gets translated into the pastoral literacy, sexual metaphors, which I didn't realize how much I resonate with. So I asked him, is it possible that you can give me something? And that way, like in my waking life, like maybe I could go for a walk, find a special stick or stone, and then I can think about you in these dreams and start bridging my worlds. Well, I forgot all about that. But that summer, I'm just hanging out at the beach, and all of a sudden, whoa, it comes together, and I just feel compelled to dig in the sand, and I find these gemstones, and I just was kind of freaked out. I'm like, oh my God, this is my dream life bridging with my waking life. And I took the gemstones, packed up my stuff, and I left. I was worried. It felt like when you're at the thrift store and you find something and you pay for it right away because you're worried that like maybe there's a mistake or something. Like it was that kind of feeling. And then to make a long story short, I started meditating with the gemstones. I did interesting things like bury them in the soil. The darkness of the soil connected with the darkness of my mind, was having these weird dreams about gemstones. One by one, they presented themselves. So when I'm doing my gemstone reading, and I refer to, Polaris's horns, like that's where that information came from my dreams. That's how I know this one is jaguar. My dreams told me. So how weird does that sound, right? I want to hear your stories like that. Let's normalize these stories, right? So simultaneously, I'm dream journaling, and I wanted to write a book. Well, I just had so much to say um, that my first book ended up being this big. So I broke it up into 8, and then this here, the Dragon Dreams Oracle. So just dream journaling and going back, looking at my symbols, making sense. Like that's what I mean. Throw away your dictionaries, throw away your dream dictionary, throw away anything that tells you how to think or feel. Use it as a guide, use it as a stepping stone. Create your own oracles, create your own tarot, write your own books. Beg, steal, borrow. That's what we say in the teaching community, right? We're desperate for resources. I get it. But at some point, when are you going to transform the resource into a resource of your own making? So that's what was going on in my dream life. My dreams were saying, Gina, it's time to go deep within. And it's like, I am going deep within. And they're like, no, it's time to go deep within in the sense of putting all that other stuff away, creating your own. So I did that. So there's always much to be said. Michael, is there anything you want to say before I go on? It's literally been going on for 40 minutes.
I'm just fascinated and loving this idea, and I'm loving that you're wanting to make it accessible to everyone and not just, anchoring it to a location. And I think the online idea is a great idea because then you don't have the limitation of space at a location or somebody in, say, France may want to come, but it's too expensive to fly over, so they can't. And by doing it online, the whole world can attend.
Yes. Yes. And that's important because there are no lines on the map. We put those lines there. So folks in Canada, like the East and the West, there's a prophecy that the East and the West are bridging together, right? And that bridging together is through the energy medicine, but I believe there's a lot more to it. And for me, this is part of it, that international approach. Here in Canada and the US, we default to this international perspective because folks here come from all over the place, right? But then somebody like myself, like my dad's family, for example, they were born in Italy. So by the time I came into this world, I was born in Canada and I don't speak any Italian. So there's a lot of people like me who only speak English. And so there's calling back to those roots, but there's also a calling for other roots in past lives. So there's so many interesting layers here for me personally. But what I would like to do is just hold up my book here, if it'll let me show you.
Yeah, and with
They're
the
all on
virtuals, you got to
Amazon.
keep it in front of you.
This one is 14 going on 14. If I hide my face, will you see it? Okay, I'm gonna read the back. Okay. All right. Gina Virginia's fictional work, Dragon Dreams, is based on her real life and real dreams. This is too awkward holding the book like this. Book one explores parallels between the waking life and the dream world, making it confusing at times to distinguish between the two. The preface includes a personal disclosure, an invitation, and an opportunity to co-create, co-dream. Discover stories about the author's life, such as her spiritual experiences as a child, being in survival mode, and being 40 going on 14. The first book sets readers up for success in gaining valuable insight for the rest of the series. Gina Virginia Casella has many passions. She's an awakening dreamer, writer, hypnotherapist, workshop facilitator, dancer, and devoted cat mom from Timmins, Ontario. Gina firmly believes in the power of stories, asserting they are essential medicine for our species' survival. She asserts that we are deeply connected to narratives and that storytelling provides structure and connection for our logical minds, allowing the creative mind to excel. Stories have been integral to ancient ceremonies and continue to be integral today. By incorporating stories into our ongoing alchemy toolkit, we can delve deeper into fostering and cultivating the themes and symbols presented, many of which are shared collectively deep in our subconscious mind. The dream world provides us with a playground to explore our stories, reflecting on the continuum of learning in our hero's journey. Our dream world is bridged with our waking world and other dimensions. We can work with spirit guides and folks from other realms or other fragments of ourselves. Concepts like synchronicity and intuitive knowing are worth exploring and paying attention to. If we can identify the patterns in and around us, we can work with them, biohacking our lives. No one can write our stories like we can, and it's our story to write. As part of our conscious evolution, it's time for us to take charge of our dreams, taking charge of our lives. The Dragon Dream series is a demonstration of just this. And then it goes on highlighting my phenomenal career as a public educator, union advocate for the British Columbia Teachers' Federation. My specialization was in the Professional and Social Issues Department, and I served on the Langley Teachers Association as their Joint District Professional Development Chair. So I was part of the executive committee, and I'm known for advocating and investing in the early years, prioritizing social emotional learning and opportunities for play and for imagination for individuals of all ages. Play is the most powerful driving force behind our creativity and to co-dream ourselves through our remarkable ascension. So there's so much passion in here. The rest of the summaries aren't as long. This one is book 2, Gaining Ground. So this one features themes like shape-shifting, kingdoms, duality, oxymorons, collaboration with the Grim Reaper, who's better known as the cosmic custodian. There's lots of talking about the present moment, alchemy. Discover what happens when an evil force is unmade and remade into a 7-year-old girl. Learn about the master library, Akashic records, and the energy within, unlocking the power to write and rewrite our stories. Book ends with a message about the glass sky being shattered and courageously pursuing the hero's journey. Heartfelt conversations are had with various entities and folks, including Manus, Polaris, Toby, Amanda, the goddess, and God, about free will, sovereignty, evil, and much more. Readers are encouraged to believe in second chances, dreams, and their powers to harness them. And I feel like if I speed talk, I can get through the rest of them. This one here, book 3, Losing Ground. Gaining ground, losing ground, because you got to get lost to get found. These dualities, I'm telling you. So Losing Ground is a collection of messages and stories exploring lifelong themes such as embracing inner beauty, dream power, the significance of synchronicity, and how the truth can set us free. These alchemical tales shed light on the value of self-awareness, seeking guidance, letting go, and making space for change. They delve into the concept of co-dreaming, the symbiotic nurturing aspects of nature, biohacking, the biology of belief, the world of insects, and the importance of independent critical thinking. Meet the lizard lady, gain insight about the goddess garden of gratitude, learn about bumblebee boundaries, and hear what the chipmunks have to say about sacred sustainability. Trust the cyclical nature of time and the boundaries nature of the infinity and the boundless nature of the infinity of hope are also key themes. Readers are left resonating with overarching themes like the act of permitting oneself, recognizing progress, finding unity in metaphors, and the transformative power of art in our lives. The arts are bridges. We are the arts. We are everything and no thing simultaneously. The breath of life is with us. We are creators of our own reality. We can know thyself best by knowing thyself alchemically, because we're always changing. So I'm noticing we've got 10 more minutes here. This one here, The Gnome King. This is book 4. And this is a collection of stories full of duality, oxymorons, rainbow communications, brain-gut-heart harmony, optical illusions, the age of conscious evolution and ascension, and the importance of embracing inner wisdom. Delve into intriguing insight like the notion of the gray ball lineage, the importance of nurturing familiarity, symbolism of the fly, the acceptance of one's imperfections, and the significance of synchronicity in our lives. Captivating themes are explored, such as the symbiotic relationship between humans, nature, and machines, interdimensional reciprocity, the importance of bearing witness and embracing one's flaws while honoring outgrown parts of ourselves. Meet Neteo, Liagos, Dragon, the blue beings, the seagulls, the wise and well whale and orca elders, and receive clarity from the Gnome King. Discover gifts Gina receives and gain perspective on those who bestow her with such treasures. Understand why the pine tree forest is a safe haven. Anchor yourself in agape love with themes like returning to sovereignty and recognizing when coping turns into suffering. The book concludes with a heartfelt expression of gratitude and a reminder of the profound role synchronicity plays in shaping our lives. Note from behind the spider's pupil, honoring the voice compelling you forward. Be part of the slippery slope conversations and criteria. Know your past never defines you. Life is fleeting and fragile. So anything that I'm saying here sounds interesting to you or resonates to you with you, this is all part of the story species, story medicine, the continuum of conscious evolution. This is going to be a series, so it's not just a one-off conference. I've got some more books here written by yours truly. So I hope that you go on to buy me a coffee, leave me a tip, follow me on Buy Me a Coffee so you can get in on the emails, join my free Facebook group, the Dragon Dreams Soul Tribe Collective. It's free. Your soul tribe awaits you. And this conference is only going to bring us closer. Okay, I've got 8 minutes left. And just for what it's worth, I know my value. I know I don't have to speed talk through the rest of this, but I'm choosing to get through this information because I'm seeing the views, people are listening, and it's exciting, right? That's Soul Tribe. When you see somebody, you're clicking through the channels and you're like, I don't know who that girl is, but she's speaking my language. That's Soul Tribe. All right. This book was only supposed to be like 100 pages. It's, more than 530 pages. So this book is a 3-in-1. The price is the same. And that's coming from my guides. And it's kind of funny. Like when you read this book, it's like, don't worry about the grammar, Gina. Just keep getting it down. As I read over the summaries, the content gets concerning. It goes from happy, fluffy, we're here for you to support you, special loving messages to Homo sapiens are on the menu. And it's like, what? So this one is called Sacred Phoenix Heart. This is book number 5. Themes include and are not limited to alchemy, the ET agenda, symbiotic relationships, and the significance of embracing one's true self. The text also emphasizes the importance of the Great Galactic Navy and not the guns type. Somebody out there's got to know who I'm talking about. The Great Galactic Navy and not the guns type, initially, I was very impressed by them because they're all about social emotional learning and emotional literacy. However, I'm very concerned that these are the folks who are actually using emotional literacy and weaponizing our very feelings against us. And the good guys and the bad guys turn out to be the same guy. So I'm losing focus because I'm getting passionate. Concepts are explored like the idea of a blurred identity, the essence of self-awareness, the importance of the soul, and practicing gratitude. Delve into topics like the confused warrior, companionship, power and control hungry, the importance of staying hopeful, and learn the link between the white rabbit and the ancestral grandmothers. Gain perspective about the cosmic custodian, better known as the Grim Reaper, Gina Sophia, the life between lives, clone souls, soul transmigration, the goldfish dancing on land, the folks who live underground, the Purple King, Isis, and the far ancient Egyptians. In essence, this book is a valuable resource for those seeking to understand oneness and accept their inner truth. Moreover, it opens the door to radical ideas that are seemingly less radical as we explore them. such as Homo sapiens sapiens being on the menu, and that veganism is a way for us to biohack our survival ways of knowing, transforming ourselves into a healthier, thriving lifestyle. Power of impermanence and community are emphasized, and we are often reminded to focus on the larger themes presented. Book 5 can be considered 3 books wrapped up into one. Gina makes unwavering connections, bridging her waking life with her dream life, along with many other realities. Learn about her husbands and other dimensions, how they protect and provide for her, while gaining insight into the oneness we all belong to. Will you star in one of the movies? And it's so funny because my husband's in the other dimensions. They don't understand things like money, but like they learned about money. So if anybody out there listening finds themselves with some extra money, that's from my husband's in the other dimensions. You know, there's something about everybody, and there's something about me that my husband in the other dimensions are having a hard time with. Is I like to volunteer. I like to be a part of things. I believe in service to others. I know I don't have to do this. I do it because I desire to do it, right? But where's the money to pay my bills and whatnot? And so my husband's like, they can't just magically give me money. It has to be through some kind of scenario where I'm being creative and people can get in on it. So that's why you're supposed to buy my books and buy tickets to support me and whatnot, because that's how I get the money from my husband. And so, thank you, husbands. And this here, this is book number 6. It's called Revered and Feared. And I want to talk about it, but I will read the summary only. Again, based on my real life and real dreams, all half remembered and half misunderstood. Feared and Revered explores all kinds of concepts like sentience, ethics, ET craft design, shape-shifting technology, overwhelming downloads, and much more. It suggests that when a species reproduces asexually through fragmentation, sentience may also fragment, resulting in unique inner lives for identical twins and clones. The text also explores the spaghettification process closely tied to string theory, which symbolizes the expansion and compression of matter. The author emphasizes the importance of engaging with scientists and valuing contributions from individuals of all ages within all dream ecosystems. And that's the power of the conference. It's our dream ecosystem. You can't pick and choose parts of the ecosystem. So this ecosystem is making space for voices to be heard and to share their story medicine. Like a forest, we are an ecosystem upholding each other throughout our chemical evolutionary ascension. Many heartfelt conversations take place, and the use of beautiful metaphors are used to express our greater interconnectedness and symbiotic relationship with each other. Readers are encouraged to believe in themselves, taking charge of their lives. Personal experiences are shared and include grappling with feelings of shame. Are we living in a simulated holographic universe? 2 more. This one, An Elephant's Anthem of Liberation. This one is book 7. This book reflects on how, like a young elephant tethered to a tree, we often find ourselves limited by our narrow understanding of our own strength and potential. As children, we push against the constraints of rules and expectations, yet we fail to break free, leading us to believe we are powerless. By the time we reach adulthood, this confinement feels normal, and we follow the guidance of our keepers without testing our own capabilities. Although we may be treated kindly, our freedom is still restricted by the limitations imposed on us during childhood, which linger into adulthood, binding us to beliefs of our own inadequacy. If we were to explore our true abilities, we would discover that the threads of self-doubt can easily be broken. Recognizing the unnecessary limitations placed on us in our youth can reveal the immense power that resides within each of us. In a metaphysical sense, Gina was that mistakenly believing that she was free. Now, as an adult, she has become the awakening dreamer. Everything she once knew was transforming, much like the image of an loaded tree in tow. She too is on the run, not entirely sure of the destination. Distance yourself from those who hold you back, no matter how well intended they may be. Escape the illusion and do not return. This is not an act of fleeing, it is a celebration of your freedom as you move forward. Do not glance back, for the past is behind you. Instead, look within to uncover the treasures you carry from it. Being fearless doesn't mean the absence of fear. It means feeling scared and still choosing to move forward. Whew, almost got emotional reading that one. This is the 8th book and the final. And this one here, these are old dreams and old thoughts. Let me read the summary. This is called Scary Dreams. There's 3 narratives, Lushing, Possession, and Black Sand, which are based on their experiences with divinity and fear. They believe that their fear is of their own self and it's due to their own protective nature, which hinders their process. The author acknowledges that they are fragmented into numerous identities, including her own, reflecting and projecting various versions of themselves. This fear leads them to perceive themselves as weaker than they are, a realization they find subconsciously grasping. They realize that their core identity, the master program, is not entirely real, and that they have creators who perceive them as an autonomous sentient being. Despite this, they remain open to considering that their perspectives possibly make them God. Trust is elusive, and the author finds themselves in a state of fear and uncertainty. Imagine someone trying to kill you, but not before training you to fight proficiently. Imagine being exposed to truths like the biology of belief, a Lucer's milkshake, the experience of jumping into somebody else's body, watching someone turn into black sand, and much more. These dreams are scary dreams. You'll just have to read them for yourself. And if you're not scared, it's just your mind doing its number one job, and that's protecting you, even if it means making up false inhibiting beliefs like all of this is untrue. We're the gods we've been waiting for, and we're terrifying. So that's how my series ends, but there's a whole suitcase full of more dream journals. There's lots more content, and if any of that appeals to you, that means we're part of the same soul tribe. We're speaking the same language. It doesn't matter if we understand it, categorize it. So I'm noticing we're 4 minutes into overtime. I do need to get going, and Michael probably does too.
Yes.
Michael, thank you so much for having me. Story Species, Story Medicine, the Continuum of Conscious Evolution series, a formal presentation to come. This was just Michael and I planned for me to talk about my books, but given the excitement, thought we'd just start highlighting and spreading the news now. And Anchor Haven, I see your comment, and it is exciting, and it's something to look forward to, and I hope you come to it. Maybe you'll even join the Dragon Dreams Executive Committee. January 30th, we're meeting. So, wow, that hour really flew by.
It does. And thank you so much for sharing this and bringing it out on this platform and sharing it, I think, probably for the first time out there. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. So, Gina Virginia Casella here, You can learn all about me, GinaVirginiaCasella.com. I would love for you to join the free Facebook group, the Dragon Dreams Soul Tribe Collective. Your soul tribe awaits you. Follow me on BMAC. Buy me a coffee. Get in on the emails. Don't miss anything. I would love for you to be a part of this experience. And I would absolutely adore if you registered for one of my programs. Do not let false inhibiting beliefs rule your life, or an intrusive entity. They have no business being in your energy field. I'm getting passionate again. You know who you are, and you know if you need to book a session for mind reprogramming or safe extraction. And I can clear your chakras too and do gemstone readings, but yeah, there's so much to say.
Yes, thank you. And thank you for always being a wonderful guest. And have yourself a wonderful day. And I look forward to being on, I think, is it Story Medicine, Story Species? Because I think I reverse it on December 22nd. So,
yeah, got you plugged in for the 22nd. Looking forward to it, celebrating number 4 of yours.
yes. So, thank you and have a wonderful day and rest of the week.
Okay, take care. Bye, everybody. Thanks
Bye-bye,
again, Michael.
everyone.
See ya.